everyone, Mark here at Lowen University. Welcome to lesson 52. In this lesson we're going to talk about basic string skipping on a very beginner level. String skipping is something that's obviously pretty intuitive. You know, if you have a bass line going on in the E string and you jump up a string to grab a note, you just reach up and grab it. But I'm going to talk about a way that sort of allowed me to get more efficiency when doing this. I'm all about efficiency. I feel like I've talked about this a lot lately in the last few lessons, but that's important when it comes to really making your technique economical. So what I'm really doing here is I'm really kind of taking a technique from guitar. I started out on guitar, so I sort of think back to a lot of the basics I learned playing that and have translated them to bass time and time again. So let me just show you the problem here. Let's see if you're just doing octaves. Let's say if I just took G on the E string, fret 3, to fret 5 on the D string. If I need to jump up and grab that G really quick, if I keep the same proper plucking hand technique, you know, fingers pointing at the ground, your wrist is kind of here, and you're kind of perpendicular to the strings. If I need to grab a really quick G 2 strings away, I have to move my whole hand forward to grab it. If you can watch on the right hand cam. Let's say it's even faster. So just that little bit of jerk sometimes can take the control away and kind of screw you up. Let's say a bass line is really tough or technical or something. You don't want to have to change position, and I'm all about that too. You want to stay in the same position. You want to keep things status quo. If you have to change your hand placement, it can derail other things. So let's go all the way to the other end of the spectrum, and if you watch a guitar player do finger plucking, you know, something that's just like, notice that I'm able to reach all 4 strings without even moving my hand at all. I can sit here, and just by opening my fingers from here, I can reach all the strings. So basically what you're doing is you're changing the axis on which your fingers are reaching, for lack of a better explanation. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of making a hybrid of that technique with normal finger style and just turning my hand a little bit, just so the axis is a little bit different and I'm not going straight down, because you know you're covering over an inch here to reach up and grab another note. So if we go back to the octave Gs, this is what you don't want. You don't want to have to move your whole forearm forward and backward and kind of pivot on your thumb just to grab a note. But if I turn my hand just a little bit, I can now pluck both of those notes, G on the E string and octave G on the G string or the D string, without having to move my hand. So this now goes this. My wrist and hand are completely still. Go back this way. You kind of have to rock forward to reach it now. Go back this way. Hand stays still. I can reach the octaves very quickly. I can even reach the top note, or a note on the top string. And I'm just turning my hand like this much. I'm talking maybe 30, 45 degrees if I had to just estimate with my eyeballs. So, and this is important. Let's say you're playing fast octaves. You don't have to do that now. If I wanted to play octaves really fast, for example, I would have to go. Or now I can just go. Okay, so really easy. We're just, you know, pivoting our hand a little bit, and basically the way to do it is just kind of look at the back of your wrist and just kind of point it more out that way. And you want to kind of see this part of your hand point toward your face a little more. I'm just cocking my hand, and you can kind of think about it like your forearm is going along the side of a bass this way, just a little bit, just enough to where you can reach it. The less change, the better. So everyone's hands and arms are different sizes. Do it until you feel like you don't have to move your hand to skip strings. So we're going to use a drum loop and an exercise for this, and I want you to practice doing this 2 different ways. So the first way is we're going to alternate pluck notes straight on the E string, and they're going to reach up and go 1 string higher each time. I'll go ahead and demonstrate it, and then we'll break that down. So here we go. Okay, so what we're doing here is just straight 8th notes on G for 1 whole bar. Second bar, we're going to go E to A string, and then E to D string, and then E to G string, E to D string. Another 8/8 notes, and then we're going to go E to D, E to G, E to D, E to A, and back one. So it's a full pattern, each repeat in the loop. and it changes both repeats. So we got, and then, okay? And kind of when I do string skipping, you want to delegate one finger to all those notes. That way you can keep the notes going on the bottom string. And I would obviously suggest using the index finger for the lower notes and use a middle or ring finger if you're brave enough and you're using 3-finger. Use that to skip out, because if you go the other way, then your hand has to go like reverse of everything I just told you. You'd have to go this way to reach it. So always use that middle finger to reach up for those notes. Obviously it just depends on the line, but give this drum loop a shot. The second way I want to try it is just to do single notes with the index finger and then only delegate the middle finger to that. So let's try that way, and here we go. Okay, like I said, if you're well versed in the ring finger by now, you can try it with any combination of those. You know, you can go ring finger to work that in as well. So give it a shot. You can find this in your lesson file PDF. I'll have the fingers I'm using, each variation notated. And it's really just a practice doing single notes with one finger or alternate plucking, and just to be well versed in either. And obviously, I know this is a beginner lesson, but you can speed this up as fast as you want and see how efficient you can get it. You'll notice I'm going through this whole thing and like I'm not even moving my hand at all. It's reaching a little bit. But if I were to do that with straight up technique, I mean, you would just not be able to do it. So just cock your hand just a little bit, give it a shot, have fun with it, and we will see you next time.